know, just giving your birds a little pick-me-up?
They don't need it, Rodney. I told you, they're a very hardy type.
Well, it's a cold night.
They're used to it.
Maybe they are. What's your hurry?
I have to go to the library.
Well, I'll drive you.
No, I'd rather walk.
I'll pick you up afterward.
No, Rodney, I've got a lot of homework to do it.
So do I. That's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Please, Rod, not tonight.
Why?
Have you heard from Betty yet?
No.
Rod, would you come in, please? I'd like to see you.
I'll see you.
I was just passing by. I dropped Aunt Laura off at the station.
Come in, Rodney. Sit down. I think we both know what I'm going to say.
You don't want me to go on seeing Allison?
It isn't very fair, is it?
Well, it doesn't seem to bother her any. She's too busy with her books and her birds.
She's been deliberately avoiding you. You should know that.
Yes, and I'm not allowed to forget why either.
Why should you?
Mrs. Mackenzie, I just wanted to talk to her. There's no one to talk to at home.
I know you miss your mother.
Yes, we never talked much. I didn't grow up in a home like this. I mean, it must have been different for Allison. She could talk to you.
But you had advantages that I couldn't give her.
Yes, I know. They let me think the whole world belonged to Rodney Harrington. Wasn't a thing I couldn't do, not a thing I needed, and not a thing on my mind except the next date, the next girl. And they were always waiting. It was a great life.
You've made mistakes, but everybody has.
Not like mine, not people like you and Allison.
You can always start over, Rodney. You're young.
Oh, yes, I'm not quite 21. I'm married, but I'm not married. I have a wife, but she's not around. My father's trying for annulment. He'd settle for divorce. I'm a symbol of something or other. I have a great deal to look forward to.
We can't cry over our mistakes, Rod. We learn to live with them.
That's easy for you to say. Oh, it all slipped by so quickly. If only I had known Allison sooner.
You could have. Norman did.
Do you know, I used to kid Norman about putting her up on a pedestal. He told me once, he said, don't you change Allison's values. I didn't even dig what he was talking about. Mrs. Mackenzie, you can live in the same house with somebody and not speak the same language.
You're too young to have found that out. Things will work out for you, Rodney. You'll see.
You mean without Allison? I'm sorry.
Well, I'm glad we had this talk.
So am I. You listen mostly. Mrs. Mackenzie, you don't have to worry about Allison. You never did. You've given her all the things that you believe in. I never thought I'd envy anyone.
poetry lover, or are you just determined to get an A in English?
I am a poetry lover. Of course, I wouldn't mind getting an A in English. I'm writing a paper on the late Victorian poets.
Kipling, Thompson, Swinburne, Hopkins, Oscar Wilde.
Oscar, Fingal, O'Flaherty, Willis, Wilde. I love saying that.
You like his poetry?
What I've read of it.
What have you read?
So far, just the ballad of Reading Jail.
All that we know who lie in jail is that the wall is strong, and that each day is like a year. A year whose days are long. Mr. Wilde, sir, you said a mouthful.
He was in prison, too, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's the trouble with my writing, or trying to.
And your lack of prison experience?
My lack of any experience. You see, I used to think that being able to rhyme meant that you could write poetry. But you have to write about something, and there's no faking knowing it always shows. So you see, I've given up writing for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I like the ones I read.
Mine?
Mm-hmm. The Clarion.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you like them. But, I can't go on writing about seagulls and flowers forever.
You think that experience is the price of understanding?
Well, isn't it?
No. Experience isn't always a life with a capital L. Being locked away from life is also a form of experience.
Like Emily Dickinson.
She's a good example. But you have made up your mind to be a writer.
Well, not in a definite sort of way. Only on Mondays and Thursdays. Well, Mother at least thinks I have talent.
You're not going to take her word for it, no?
Well, Mother is a very honest person, but even she has her prejudices.
It's closing time.
I hate to leave. I always feel this is my second home.
I used to practically live here when I was a kid.
So did I.
There you are, Allison.
Thank you. I hope I'm not kidding myself. Maybe college will just be college.
Well, that depends on what you want out of it.
Merely the impossible. You can't major in growing up.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
What is happening?
You're here. I'm here. That's what's happening. And I'm not going to lie about it. I'm glad it is.
There's nothing wrong with two people who have common concerns having dinner together in a public place.
That's all it is.
For now, yes.
I am here, Mr. Hadley, right here in Peyton Place. Now, you and I are going to have to learn to live with that, like it or not. I didn't kill your daughter. Someone in this town lied.